Hey guys, I hope everything is going well for you and that you are surrounded by positive energy. At first, I wasn't really sure what the theme for this month could be, but I wanted to create something that would symbolize February. I really love small animals and lately I've been wanting to draw them, so I started looking for animals that are somehow related to this month. Eventually, tiny adorable wood mice showed up while I was searching. Apparently, wood mice start breeding in the month of February. And since Valentine's Day is also celebrated during this month, I found this to be the perfect opportunity for the theme of the month to be centered around different types of love. So I prepared my mood board with different references of wood mice and Valentine's Day elements to help me get started with my sketches. I picked up my red pencil and began sketching the first illustration, which represented the first kind of love, which in this case is romance between two tiny wood mice. And I grabbed an empty swatch sheet. I keep these in the envelope at the end of my sketchbook, so they are always at hand when I need to swatch something. I chose a grayish color for the fur of the mice, and then I chose a rose pink for the ears, cheeks, and nose. So I wanted the characters to have a cozy vintage style, but with a modern feel. For the clothing of the mouse on the left, I chose to use a mustard and rose color, which gave it a cozy feel. For the mouse on the right, I used a yellow on the pants and then went over it with a blue-green to create a checkered pattern, and then I used the same color for the hoodie. And since I adore balloons, I knew I had to include one in this illustration. I decided to use two shades of red, one lighter and one darker. And then I used the colorless blender to add in light reflections since it absorbs a lot of the color. In order to create a Valentine's Day theme, I gave the mouse on the right a balloon to hold and a small gift to symbolize love for their partner. So I'm using the fine liner pen to go over the Ohuhu markers. It seems like lately I've been sticking to the same drawing habits, but I kind of want to change that because I'd like to try something new. So I set a challenge for myself to use a different medium for the upcoming videos. So to create some highlights to the mice and the balloon, I decided to use the Sakura jelly pen. I wasn't sure what color to make the background around the mice, but I knew that I wanted it to be in the yellowish color. So I started by applying a very light yellow, and then I built over it, making it darker each time until I was happy with it. I then used the brown color to outline the edges, and then I realized that it started to look like a wooden piece. I find it really funny and cute that they are wood mice and they are standing in front of a wooden background. So I really love that it turned out this way. I wanted to make the clothing a little darker because they ended up blending in with the background and I feel like they kind of lost their character. On the other page, I chose to illustrate two more types of love. I particularly liked the illustration of a mother shielding her little ones from the rain because it perfectly captured the spirit of love. Using the red pencil, I began to sketch them in. I used the same shade of grey for the fur and the same rose pink for the ears, nose and cheeks. So I wanted to add a little bit more to this story, and I drew the mother holding a branch with berries, showing that they had gone to gather some food when they caught up in the rain. I also used the same colors for the clothing, but this time I only made a jacket for the mice. I made the mother's jacket in rose pink and the little one's jacket in blue-green. I think that it's very important to create stories within your drawings because that way they have a message to give and they are more special. I kept swatching each color I used to keep track of it and also to see how it appears on paper. I also added the big raindrops to show how little the mice were, and I drew in a puddle for them to walk through. The other kind of love I wanted to express in this month's setup is self-love. So, to convey the message of self-love, I decided to draw a mouse having a warm bath, taking some time for themselves to relax and unwind. I created a cozy vibe by adding in a tray with hot chocolate, candles, and bubbles, and I used the same color of the jacket for the shower cap. It's important to love those who support you, but you should also take some time for yourself to do things that will benefit you and make you better. Because if you want to take care of others, you must be healthy and strong yourself. I've seen many artists create a design at the bottom which remains visible on every page, and I decided to apply this to this month's setup. So I cut the bottom part for the next few pages so that the design at the bottom is always visible. I wanted the background of the mice to be a bit more decorative, and I decided to decorate them with some tape and stamps. As for the title of the pages, I wrote the name of the month with ink stamps. I filled in the letters with gold acrylic ink, but I wasn't happy with how it looked, so I covered it in the rose gold ink instead. I also added a section for the to-do list at the bottom, and I would fill it in with things that I would need to finish throughout the month but aren't tied to any particular day. As for the design at the bottom of the page, I decided to fill it in with bubbles because they gave me a cozy, candy-like feel. I chose to stick with the same daily calendar layout from last month, so I used glue to stick in a few papers between the first two pages because I found it very functional and comfortable. And since there are 28 days in this month, I divided each page into 4 equal parts so that I would have 4 days on each. To decorate the pages, I added various patterns in between the days, and I also filled the days with different colors to separate them from each other. I also randomly placed decorative ink stamps on the pages to design them. And at times, I filled in the edges with gold or silver acrylic ink. I dedicated the next 2 pages for my trackers. I cut out a piece of paper for the calendar and I stuck it on since the marker was showing way too much. I then used my set of number ink stamps to write down each day of the month. And I decided to use a copper color for the weekend days and a black color for the weekdays. So I made the left page for my daily and weekly trackers and the other for the YouTube and social media tracker. I wasn't really happy with how the calendar turned out, but later on I went over it again and decorated it a bit more, and I managed to make it look much better. At the bottom of the calendar, I wrote the colors I will be using for each thing that I want to track daily, and at the end of each day I will mark a dot with what I have completed. For the weekly tracker, I decided to change a bit the way I was marking each thing that I complete, because I wasn't too happy with how I did it in the previous month. So this time I decided to have a very good for things that I complete and an X for things that I don't. To be honest, I do feel like they are all a bit squished, but with the previous setup I felt like I was wasting a lot of pages. On the next page I will be having a YouTube and social media tracker again. So I wrote the title in red at the top of the page and then added some hearts on each side of it. Below it, I glued some pieces of paper similar to how I created the daily calendar, and this will be used for my YouTube ideas. In my previous setup, I liked having a space where I could write the things that I wanted to improve, which are related to YouTube, and so I left an area for this on this page. At the bottom, I made a YouTube tracker and I designed it in the form of a notebook. Here, I will be tracking the number of videos I posted, the best video of the month, the number of subscribers, and watch hours I ended the month with. I also left a bit of space at the bottom to check my Instagram and TikTok followers and the number of posts and reels I made during the month of February. So if you want to check out what I'm up to and view some fun stories, follow me on my Instagram. That would really support me and I'd love to be able to engage with you guys more, and it would be nice to receive feedback on future projects. I went over these 2 pages to add any missing details and decorate them a bit more. I also decided to add the word ideas on the first page of the strips because I felt that it was a bit too empty. On the following pages, I want to track my monthly spendings and earnings once again. And to decorate this page, I filled in the background of the title in black with an acrylic marker. So I wrote in the title monthly with a white jelly pen, and then I applied the pattern I usually use to make it look nicer. For the spendings and earnings title, I followed last month's format and I wrote the earnings at the bottom on the right side and the spendings at the top on the left side. On the next page, I included the brain dump section, since I found it very useful in the previous month. I decided to stick in a pocket in which I will place some papers where I can just grab, get out, and write anything that comes to mind. For the bottom part, I included the same things I had in the last month's setup, so I had the 3 spaces for gratitude, a space for memories that I created throughout the month, and a space for future plans. I then decided to add some tape at the bottom of each page because I thought it looks really cute and it helps to keep the design consistent. Once again, I had the marker showing through the page, so I had to stick a piece of paper to cover it up. I then rewrote the word earnings and replaced the cupcake stamp with a cute sticker that I had purchased from Shein. I also placed some hearts at the bottom and retraced the heart on the left with the fine liner pen. I definitely used fewer pages for this month's setup compared to last month's, and while some of them fit in better now, I feel like some are a bit too crowded. As usual, links to the products I use can be found in the description. The set of ink stamps that I used in this video I received as a gift, so unfortunately I do not have links for them. If you are still here, I really appreciate you watching till the end, and I hope you enjoyed the process. And now it's time for the reveal of this month's journal setup. Leave a like and a comment if you like the way the pages turned out, and subscribe for more. Stay positive, and I'll see you in the next video.